if you would, check out my book, One Eighth of a Man Hate for the Skin I'm in. So, what I want to talk to you about today is the most racist things that have happened to me in my 43 years in business. Now, I came home with my college degree in 1980 and went into professional sales in 1981. And the first incident that I would consider racist that happened in my business career is we were in the office one morning planning out the day we were all going to go out and make our sales calls. We had a fairly new guy in the office, a young white guy. I think his father was some executive at a local bank. And all of a sudden he blurted out, my dad asked me if we had made calls on that nigger bank across town. My eyes flew open. Everybody else said, man, you can't be talking like that in here. So there was a minority owned bank on the other side of town. So I guess that's how his dad felt about it. That's how he expressed it. Another was just the ordinary day to day making sales calls. I would go out, go into some of these offices. This was a rural area in some cases. Go into some oil company office, and these guys would sit up. How can I help you? I tell them what I wanted. I was in sales, and they would question, "Are you from around here?" And blah blah blah. Like, who are you in this suit coming in here? Basically kind of telling me I'm out of my place. That's another one. A third one that happened that was fairly shocking a little bit is I was going to lunch with three of my work colleagues. My manager was driving. I'm sitting right behind him. And there were two other guys in the car. I'm the only black person in the car. Matter of fact, I was the only black person in that office. And there was some commotion tying up traffic. So he needed to do a U turn to get to the restaurant. And there was a car coming towards him in the other lanes. So he was blocking him making his U turn. All of a sudden, he blurted out, well, what are you going to do, nigger? My eyes kind of widened, and the other two guys looked at each other and looked at me. So he dropped us off at the curb while he went to park at the restaurant. They looked at me and said, what the hell's wrong with him? So when I got back to the office, I related to another colleague, is you got to do something about this. So I contacted HR and all that. Things started happening. You know, he eventually lost his position as a manager, was put in a warehouse, and he left the company. I got the formal apology, all that stuff. Another instance was I was walking by a desk um, in the office and noticed a letter sitting on one of the desks. And it was an offer letter. There was someone that had just got promoted to the same type of position I had, which was selling some, very expensive business printing solutions. And I noticed they were making more than I was. So I promptly went to HR and we got that corrected, including back pay. So that was one instance. Another instance, I was riding with someone, making sales calls. I was in management. I had about 5 or 6 people reporting to me. And I got a phone call. It was from the administrative assistant of the vice president that was over that division. And she said, I noticed something. I said, what? She was out looking at a list of all the managers of your position across the country. And you're not making the same amount of money as these people are making. I said, really? So she kind of ran down the list a little bit. So I took that information, went in, and you talk about people shaking in their boots. I got it rectified, plus back pay. And they said, well, why didn't you just take these guys to the cleaners and all that? Well, there's something called playing chess and playing checkers. I was playing chess. And it served me well for the rest of my career. So I didn't burn the house down. Um, Eventually, I changed careers, got out of sales, went into some other business. And in this business, sometimes you go from town to town. A whole group of people come together, like say after a major storm or something. It was a kind of insurance related, and you kind of have an orientation on what you need to do in this particular area, what the rules and regulations are for the state and all that. So someone, we were in Jackson, Mississippi. So there was one of the managers given, need to do this, need to do that. Somebody asked a question. They said, do we need to know Spanish when we go out and meet people down here? Which was a rational question. The answer came back, no, you don't need to know Spanish, but you might need to know Ebonics. I went, what? Did I just hear what this guy said? So it was about 4 or 5 other black people in the group. We met at a parking lot after that orientation and said, did you hear that guy say that? They said, yeah. I didn't say anything, but I was shocked. That's high on the list of the most racist things that have happened to me. But I think the number one is when I was actually um, working for myself. My spouse and I owned a franchise restaurant. So I'm there almost every day. It was a sandwich shop almost every day. So I guess this one guy that came in quite often noticed I was there a lot. And he said, you know what, you're here all the time. If you keep working as hard as you do, you'll become a manager here one day. I said, actually, I own the place. He said, come on, man. Quit bullshitting with me. That was the number one most racist thing that has happened to me in my 43 years in business. He couldn't imagine or even fathom that a black person could own a business like that. You know, I'm not done yet. I'm sure there's going to be some more stuff come along, but so far, that's it.